In some areas, blizzard conditions. Today, by the way, the first day of spring. Stock futures in the red this morning, and this is SRN News.
Progressive knows not all rides are smooth. Meet Sarah. She loves her motorcycle. What she doesn't love is when it suddenly rains. As she sits underneath a bridge waiting for it to stop, she grows quite fond of the graffiti on the overpass. She really likes the one with John Hart's Claire and wonders if they're still together. Not every ride is smooth, but Progressive has your back. Get an online quote in as little as 3 minutes and see if you can save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
You want to give your dogs the very best. No matter what they're eating, you should add Dr. Fido's to every bite. Just sit back and watch them lick their bowl clean, knowing they are getting 40 carefully selected ingredients made from whole foods, spices, and fibers, from bananas to sweet potatoes. Vet-developed, dog-trusted. This is the human-grade dog food topper that gives you peace of mind. Go to drphytos.com and subscribe to save $20 each month. That's drphytos.com.
Get ready for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th at 1 p.m. Central Time. With 60 Angus and 5 Limflex bulls and 10 Angus heifers, there's plenty to choose from. These are big, stout performance kind of cattle and great selection for calving ease bulls. Check them out on Facebook at Schilling Cattle, or you can also watch the sale at TV Auction. The sale is located 6 miles north of the I-70 exchange in Brewster, Kansas. Come check out great cattle, meet great people, and best of all, eat some fantastic food. So don't forget to mark your calendars for the Schilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th, 6 miles north of Brewster, Kansas.
Here's the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. Blizzard warnings were affecting more than 3 million people in the central United States yesterday. A powerful winter weather system was blasting heavy snow and high winds from central plains to the upper Midwest, with gusts up to 50 miles per hour expected from Kansas to Minnesota. Forecasters warned there could be dangerous or impossible driving conditions, bringing traffic to a standstill in cities including Omaha, Des Moines, and Rochester, Minnesota. In Kansas, the winter storm hit the region yesterday and caused several issues with the electrical system. PowerOutage.us reported over 30,000 Kansans were without power yesterday. Several energy companies were out in extreme weather trying to bring power back to Kansas residents, and in some instances, the crews were working in gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour. The wind gusts, coupled with fresh snow, had created whiteout conditions in most of our listening area, requiring all the highways to be shut down for the day. The Sherman County Health Department would like to remind you that they are offering CPR and AED certification through a hands-on learning course. The cost is $50 to be educated by skilled trainers. Please contact the Sherman County Health Department to schedule an appointment. If you're interested in earning your hunter's safety, you need to call Mike Hopper at 785-342-7382 to register before the March 23rd deadline. The classes will be held in Brewster at 8 a.m. on March 29th, but you must be at least 11 years old to attend. Starting tomorrow at 4 p.m., come enjoy the NWKS Radio Home and Better Living Show at the Colby Event Center. Lasting through the weekend until Sunday at 3 p.m., you can meet and discover new ideas for better living from over 75 vendors. In addition to the Home and Better Living Show, the Colby Gun and Coin Show will also be happening at the Colby Event Center, beginning Saturday at 8 a.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. So if you find yourself with free time this weekend, come to the Event Center and find out how to have a better home with better living, and what you might need to protect it at the Colby Gun and Coin Show. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 1025.
The first initial day of spring will start off this morning in the upper teens and low 20s with a light southwesterly wind at 5 miles per hour and clear skies. This is behind a blizzard and blinding conditions that shut down roadways through the entire day yesterday, with the tri-state receiving 1 inch or 2 of blowing snow out to the west along the Colorado line, upwards to 6 to 8 inches to the east in Norton and Hill City. This afternoon, southwest winds will increase 20 to 30 miles per hour. Highs will climb into the upper 50s under partly cloudy skies. In areas to the west that didn't receive the most moisture yesterday, which would be the counties, which are the first tier of counties along the Colorado border, Dundee, Yuma, and Kit Carson out in Colorado will be in a red flag watch with the lower relative humidities and the breezy winds later today. This is meteorologist Chris Schromick reporting from the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
At Nextech Wireless, we're committed to delivering more than just quality wireless service. We're here to provide you with exceptional customer support every step of the way. Experience our service risk-free for 30 days. Plus, for a limited time, Get an iPhone 16 Pro Max on us when you buy one with our best plan and handset protection. Next Tech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas is hiring now, looking for technicians of all levels and a service advisor to join their team. Enjoy competitive wages, consistent work, plus 401k and health benefits, all in a great work environment. If you're ready for a rewarding career with a trusted dealership, apply today. Visit them in person on South Commerce Road in Goodland or apply on Facebook. Join the Earl Chevrolet GMC family today.
Join NWKS Radio live at the Colby Event Center for the 34th Annual Home and Better Living Show this weekend. Free admission, and one of our great vendors will be 5-Star Metal. They'll have metal flats that will change from piece to piece, giving each of you something unique to hang in your home, church, or business. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find with 5-Star Metal. Get the details at the number 5starmetal.com. That's the number 5starmetal.com.
Spring is coming, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware has everything you need to kick off the season. Get your lawn looking its best with Ultimate Fertilizer and power up with Ego blowers and mowers. Got a project? They've got a surplus of lumber ready to go. Plus, fire up the fun with their selection of grills and griddles, but hurry, they're selling like hotcakes. Hoover's is also proud to sponsor the Pioneer 5K, 10K, half and full marathon supporting Colby Community College cross country on April 26th, and remind you to sign up and participate. It's Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
And Max Gershon.
The Gershon build is short, but calves like this big. Big old calves.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Covering it all from the preps.
Costa 1.7 chucks it up for the win. It's an air ball, and the Colby Eagles victorious in Hugoton.
To the pros.
Mahomes stepping up again, tries to throw. Line caught! Touchdown! Kansas City! Travis Kelce owning this game.
The Blitz is presented by Earl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the insurance agency, the Farmers State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. Here's the 1-1 pitch. This ball is belted in the deep left field. This is sending Jimerson back, and this one is gone. Dylan Carey with his third home run of the season. It's now 4-0, Big Red.
Keys on the right wing, bounce pass entry, right block extended. Cordelia gives it up to Adebayo, who goes up with the right hand and jams it right on the head of Greg Jones. What a second half for Dola Adebayo. King McClure is ducking for cover.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious.
Batted to Swain for Xavier. He gets another big board. McKnight on the run out. Throws to Conwell. 5 seconds underneath Fremantle. He dumps it with 1.8 seconds. And the party is on at Dayton. From 13 points down in the second half, the Xavier Musketeers stormed back. And they beat Texas 86-80 to cap the first four in scintillating style.
And good Thursday morning, everybody. We're back and rolling on the Morning Blitz. It's March the 20th. Weather looking more spring-like outside with the sun shining and no snow. And temperatures expected to feel a little bit more spring-like today as we expect to get into the mid-50s. So if everyone having a good start to your day. Oh man, it's officially the best day in sports, is it not, Max? I mean, it's
up there.
If it's not number one, it's got to be probably top 3.
Oh, it's up there.
But I would say it's probably the best day in sports, at least in sports watching. You know, if you're a couch potato who loves to watch sports, today is your day, because you can start at 11:15 Central, 10:15 Mountain Time, and watch basketball all the way for 12 straight hours with really no interruptions. And you can get the quad box up and going, and you can watch all 4 games all day long. I mean, this day is really good, but I'm not going to lie. I feel like it's the round of 32 that's even more fun, because you get to watch pretty much every single game back to back to back to back to back.
Right.
Kind of get consecutive games, and that's actually nice, because today could be a little bit of overload, but if you like to just watch basketball game, maybe the round of 32 and Sweet 16 are more for you.
My question is, are you more of a quad box guy, or do you like bringing out extra TVs and extra screens and extra monitors? Because I don't like the quad box.
Yeah, I'm not a humongous quad box guy. You've been in my house, but you haven't been to my basement where I have the trifecta. I call it the command center, not command, the command center, where I have 3 screens, 165 total inches, and then watch all the games there. So I got
to watch it over there.
Yeah, probably. So anyway, yeah, I'm not a humongous quad box guy, but I will watch it from time to time. If I'm sitting down and focusing on a game, like if there's a particular game I want to watch, no. But, if I'm just kind of viewing casually, I'll have the quad box on from time to time. So it just depends. Today is the bracket breakdown show. We'll be going through our personal NCAA tournament brackets. Of course, another reminder that today at noon local time, if you want to compete in our NWKS Radio's Bracket Challenge, you need to have your paper bracket returned to the sponsored location you picked yours up at by noon local time today to be entered in for a chance to have the best bracket and win yourselves $1,500 in cash. So make that a priority day to get that bracket. If you haven't picked one up, do it. Get it filled out. Get it returned back by noon local time today. But we're going to give you our picks today. We'll break down the first and second rounds here in just a little bit. We'll get to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 in the second segment, and cap off in the final segment with our national champion and Final Four. So that's how the show will break down today. I have 2 quick questions for Max. I always ask this question to my co-host or anybody who does brackets, but are you the believer in making multiple brackets and having multiple different brackets, or just one bracket is all you go and that's your bracket?
I do one. I mean, I maybe do 2. Some years I've done 2. I do one. Just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of just making 70 different brackets and hoping one sticks. I just feel like I got to commit to one, and that's the one I'm going to put in all my groups and pools that I go into. So I've won this year, and I tell you what, I have got to improve from last year, because last year was the worst bracket I've ever created. It was, it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I finished last, I'm pretty sure, in every group. It was bad. I was like a 10%. It was really terrible. It was really, really terrible. So I have to improve this year, and avenge last season's bracket.
Yeah, I'll fill out a bracket or 2, but I only stick with one. I fill out one bracket and then I go back and I'm like, okay, what needs to change? I kind of go off what I think initially the first time, then I go back, okay, what needs to change? And then that's usually the bracket that I have sitting on my fridge right now in my house.
So you're a paper bracket guy.
I am a paper bracket guy, but I do also fill out stuff online just for fun.
Okay.
But it's the same bracket. It's not like I have separate brackets.
Right. Gotcha.
I have just one winner. I have one Final Four. I have one Sweet 16. I do not change from that.
Okay.
So that's what I do. So that was my big question. Do you do those brackets just like that? That's the big one.
So I do one. That's all I do.
One bracket. All right. Good deal. Well,
you're getting it today on the show.
All right. That's right. So anyway, I sat down yesterday and went to work on my bracket for the first time, went down, sat through, did some looking in some numbers, and, got out the Ken Palm, got out some stuff like that, and went digging through and tried to put together the best bracket I could. Not going to lie. I do not like my bracket this year.
Okay. That's an interesting thing to say.
I don't like it.
Why?
Particularly because it is way too top heavy. Way too many high seeds. And I was watching a reel this morning of Jay Billis, And he was saying something along the lines. He goes, I went through when I looked through the bracket, Jay Billis says, of course, this guy who follows college basketball as much as anybody. And he goes, when I look through this bracket, I look at all the top seeds and I keep thinking their paths are just, they're challenging, but they're not impossible. And so I think that's why you see, and you'll see in my bracket, why there is a lot of high numbered seeds that are making their way to the Final Four.
And I also think that it seems to me that this is a year that's pretty weak in the 3 to 6 range, and especially the 4 or 5. It feels weak.
Top heavy is the word you're looking for here.
Yeah, but usually there's some 4 or 5s that really have some power and that really stick out. But to me, there's just not that many.
My guess is we probably will see that, but I don't know. There's something about the SEC getting 14 teams into the tournament, which is mathematically out of 68 teams, that is 21% of the bracket is SEC teams. And 2 of those are number 1 seeds. And a lot of the other ones are, number 2 seeds, whether that's Bama, Tennessee, so yeah, it's a fascinating bracket this year. And so let's get crunching here. So where do you want to start in the South in the upper left corner?
Let's start in the South. So the South is honestly the most fun I had doing the bracket. This is where a lot of my upsets lie. So let's start with the South.
All right. So I'm guessing you're taking Auburn over Alabama State, as I am as well. The 8-9 game is Louisville versus Creighton. That game is today at 10:15 Mountain, 11:15 Central. It actually starts off March Madness, to be honest or not. If you don't want to count, the 2 games, the first 4, which, by the way, Xavier last night overcomes a 13-point deficit to come back and beat Texas. And I'm reading this morning that Rodney Terry, head coach for Texas, could be fired.
Gustavo Fring might be fired. I love how much he looks like that Breaking Bad character. It's hilarious.
Well, anyway. And then by the way, Mount St. Mary beat American yesterday in the game.
Yes.
So anyway, Louisville and Creighton, game 1 of the day.
This is tricky because there's a couple of games throughout the bracket that I like both teams a lot, and I think if there were different matchups and different seedings, I could have both of these teams going pretty far. But I think I have Creighton in this game, and I've been back and forth on this for a while because I really do like Louisville. But I think Ryan Kalkbrenner and you've asked Stephen Ashworth as well. This is a team that beat KU early in the year. They got hot early in the year. They kind of slowed down, finished the year 24-10, but they have a 2-man scoring crew that I think is going to be really hard to defend. And I think I trust their best players a little more than I trust Louisville's Chucky Hepburn and company. So I have Creighton. I have Creighton over Louisville in this game.
I just like the athleticism that Louisville provides. I love their point guard, Chucky Hepburn, which, by the way, great story. Chucky Hepburn is an Omaha kid playing against the Omaha school in Creighton. Kind of a neat story there. But I'm going Cardinals. I'm taking them over Creighton. Creighton has had some questionable losses this year that at times they've looked great. At times they have not. If they're not making threes, they really, really struggle offensively. I think Louisville is a really tough defensive team. They're going to make it hard on Creighton. I'm taking Louisville over Creighton in the first round there to face off against Auburn. Up next, Michigan and UC San Diego. Some people have this as a big upset possible game. I personally don't see it. I think Michigan is a really good basketball team. They're well coached. They've got humongous size inside with Vlad Golden at 7 foot and Danny White at 7 foot, who can move like a guard. They've got other great pieces as well. I know UC San Diego is kind of a sexy pick. I still think Michigan's going to get past them in the first round.
I do have UC San Diego in this game, and I read reading up about them is they shoot the 3 ball a lot, and they shoot it at a pretty high percentage, and they don't turn the ball over a lot, and that's really a lot. All I need to know to pick a team like UC San Diego, because also you look at their record 30-4. I know they're not playing a lot of good teams, but regardless, they win, and this is their chance. I look at a lot of these games where teams that win a lot and don't play a lot of good competition, especially the 12-13 range. This is their chance to prove people wrong and be like, that we're a for real good basketball team. So I have UC San Diego in this. They shoot the 3 ball, and I expect them to knock down the 3 ball against Michigan like they've been doing all year. And I think that can prove to be costly against Michigan. And I think that they're going to win the game.
I'm taking Yale over Texas A&M in the 13-4 upset. I don't like Texas A&M because I know they work really hard defensively, and I know that they're the best offensive rebounding team in the nation. It's kind of been their calling card underneath Buzz Williams. But I don't know, Yale's got this great offensive system that allows them to score points easy. So I'm taking Yale over Texas A&M in an upset, and then we get the Danny White game between Michigan and Yale because that's where Danny White was before he went to Michigan. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, Yale had that run. What was it last year? They had that run, right? Wasn't it last year where they
it was either last year or a year before, but yes, it's been recent.
And Texas A&M has played some good competition. They have a win against Auburn most recently as their most notable win. I just think that they've played so much better competition that they're a tougher basketball team than Yale, and I have Texas A&M winning this because it's just like I don't feel like Yale's going to pull off the upset back-to-back years or 2 and 3 or whatever it is. That's one of the main reasons I'm picking Texas A&M because I just don't think Yale has another impressive run in them. It's hard to do.
The next game on the South bracket will be Ole Miss, North Carolina. I'm going to roll with the hot hand. I think North Carolina beats Ole Miss just because they got that first game out of the way and they shot lights out. I mean, lights out. Even if they cool off a little bit, they're still going to be shooting really, really good. I got them beating Ole Miss. Ole Miss does nothing really bad, but nothing honestly really great. They're just a solid team. North Carolina, I think, outshoots them in a win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think North Carolina just playing another game is so big. I mean, if both of them were not if both of them had not played a game going into this one, maybe it's, I might lean towards Ole Miss, but just North Carolina already having a game under their belt is huge and in that fashion. And they still have got a chip on their shoulder after, all the talk going into that game. So I have North Carolina as well.
Next game on the docket, Iowa State, Lipscomb. I'm picking Iowa State here. I know they're a little bit banged up, but I feel like they're going to be a tough team. This is the game where this is the game where usually that 14 seed picks it because most people think you're going to pick Iowa State and you don't see that coming. I'm taking Iowa State over Lipscomb. I think their toughness defensively is going to help prevail.
Yeah, I know they're like you said, they're injured. They have one of their best players out, and I just I think that they're tough enough and they are good enough to beat a 14 seed. I don't know if they're good enough to win the next round, but I do think that they are just good enough with all the injuries and with the struggles that they've kind of gone through towards the end of the year to beat a 14 seed in Lipscomb.
The 7-10 game on the South bracket, Marquette, the 7 seed, New Mexico, the 10. I'm going with Richard Pitino's Lobos from New Mexico. I'm taking them over Marquette in a minor upset, the 10 over the 7. I like their toughness. He can coach almost as good as his dad. I feel like he's had success everywhere he's been. And I feel like Marquette, I don't feel has been as good as of late. So give me New Mexico.
Yep, I'm with you with New Mexico. They had the Mountain West Player of the Year in Donovan Dent, and they play some defense. So, give me New Mexico.
And they will face Michigan State, I believe, in the next
Yes.
round. They will take care of Bryant. Michigan State has had a really good year underneath Tom Izzo.
I agree.
All right, you're listening to the Bracket Breakdown Show here on the Morning Blitz. Let's go down further to the west, which is in the bottom left corner of your sheet of the bracket. And Florida gets Norfolk State in the first round. I'm going Gators easily there.
Yep, I'm with you on that one.
The 8-9 matchup, UConn, the two-time defending champs, going up against Porter Moser and Oklahoma. I am taking Oklahoma. I don't believe UConn has had the type of year that they have wanted, and I feel like Oklahoma is playing good basketball here down the stretch. Their backs were against the wall, probably the last third of the season. They were able to fight and claw their way to a 9 seed. That momentum carries them into this game here against Florida in my bracket.
Yeah, I'm just not going to bet against UConn until they show me that they should not be, bet against because it's just they're stand early. They've got something going in March always. So give me UConn to make it out of the first round.
The next game, Memphis and one of the regional teams, Colorado State, meeting up. We talked about this game a little bit yesterday. I'm going with the Rams. They're shooting it well. I'm going with Colorado State. They're the hot team over Memphis.
And this might just be because I don't really know much about Memphis, to be honest, going into this. And I've just heard more about Colorado State, but I'm also going with the Rams. They shot the ball well in their last game. If they shoot the ball like that, I think they have a very, very good chance of making it to the round of 32.
The next game is Maryland and Grand Canyon. This game will be on Friday. Maryland is one of those teams where they don't have a ton of depth, but their starting 5 and 6 players are maybe as good as anybody in the country. They really can play. They are big inside, they're athletic inside, and their guards can all shoot it. They're a dangerous team. I think they'll be too much for an upset-minded Grand Canyon squad, Maryland advancing into the round of 32.
Yep, you hit on the nose. I also have Maryland in that one.
The game of the day, and probably the Morning Blitz, Missouri and Drake, the 6-11. I have talked about this team all season long. I cannot back out now, even though I feel like everyone is talking about them. I have to roll with my boy Ben McCollum and Drake over Missouri. Even though I feel like the chances of this happening are becoming slimmer by the second because everyone talks about Drake now.
Yeah,
I was first.
You were first. But I have to, and it's funny because I've been talking to some friends that go to Missouri and I've been like telling them all this about Drake because you've told me all these things about Drake that I would have no idea about. But I tell you what, this is the game I've been 50-50 on. I've been, no Drake's going to win, no MU's going to win, but I've thought about it, and I think this is what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game at the end, and I think Missouri is going to prevail. So I have 6 seed Missouri beating Drake in a very, very close, one of the best games, I think, in round 1. I can't wait for this game, but I have Missouri. Hey, I don't necessarily.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that would break my heart.
I'm not a big MU guy, but I just cannot see them losing this game, unfortunately. I think it's going to be close, but I think MU's athleticism and talent is going to just put them over the edge of Drake.
The next game, a little bit of local flavor in it. Texas Tech against UNC Wilmington. And once again, this is the late game tonight. But UNC Wilmington has former Hoxie Indian Harlan Obioa on the roster. He's one of their bigs for them. I still don't think that's enough for them to prevail against Texas Tech. I'm taking the Red Raiders.
Yeah, JT Toppin, enough said. Give me the Raiders.
Kansas, Arkansas tonight. This is the big one on CBS. It'll be at 6:10 Central, 5:10 Mountain Time. You can also listen on Flyover Country 97.9. Look, it's the coaching matchup. It's Calipari itself. But you know what? Kansas is the most talented 7 seed in this tournament, and it's not even close. They're the most talented, and I do believe Arkansas is still trying to put things together in the first year of Calipari. Hawks advancing.
Give me. It is going to be a
Hawks and Hogs.
an unconfident KU pick right here. I'm not confident. I'm not happy, but give me the Jayhawks.
And they will face, in my bracket, Rick Pitino and St. John's. As much as I think it would be cool to see Crutchfield and Omaha make their way, it's probably not going to happen. St. John's' toughness and physicality will prevail over Omaha.
I agree.
Also, J.J. White, former Coleman Community College guard at Omaha as well. But I think it's going to be St. John's that advances on there. And there you go. That's the West bracket. Let's keep moving here on the bracket breakdown show. Going to the east side, which back to the top right in the bracket, Duke will take on the high-flying Mount St. Mary's, who had a lot of cool dunks last night, but they'll see more cool dunks against Duke because they're going to flush it down, more than likely. Blue Devils.
That was a rough game to watch. That American team was real. I know they lost their best player to injury. They were really bad. They were really bad to watch. So
this guy couldn't. He tried so hard to stay on the floor.
Oh, I feel
his knee.
You could see that thing pop at halftime. They showed a replay, and that thing just popped. And then he stayed in. Ugh, terrible. But I got Duke, yeah.
Mississippi State, Baylor. I'm going Bears here.
Yeah.
I trust Baylor more. I think they have more talent. So I'm going with Baylor over Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think they have the better player too in VJ. So
it's going.
I'm going with Baylor. I've been high on him all year, and he's been really good this year. So give me the Bears.
The next game is one that I went back and forth on. You've got Oregon and Liberty. Oregon in the middle of the season was struggling mightily, really struggling. And Oregon has kind of put it together here as of late. Liberty, though, shoots the 3 ball as good as anybody in this tournament. They knock in close to 40% of their threes. I love Dana Altman. I'm a huge fan of his, but I'm going upset here. Liberty, the 12 over Oregon.
I'm with you. I also have Liberty in this matchup. They shoot the 3 ball well. I don't know. Oregon is just. I'm not sold on him. I'll say that. And, this is a bracket that it's kind of one of those, I'm like looking around my bracket. I'm like, I got too many high seeds winning a lot of games. So I got to pick something here. And Liberty's one of those teams that I feel the best about pulling off a 12-5. So give me Liberty.
After Liberty, I believe they're going to take on in a round of 32 game Akron. They're going to knock off Arizona, taking the Zips over Arizona. Why? I don't know, because I've seen these 12-13 games before. I think we're going to see one again this year.
Okay.
I don't love Arizona. I know they've got a lot of talent, but they really, I don't know. Even though people think they're putting it together here down the end of the season, which they kind of are, I'm going to take Akron. Upset.
Yeah, give me Arizona. I think Caleb Love, he's been around forever, and I think he's going to have a really solid tournament. So give me Arizona over Akron.
BYU VCU, the next game that'll be coming up today around 2 Mountain, 3 Central time. I'm taking the Cougars over VCU. They have really shot the ball well, played really good offense. I think they're able to get it done against VCU.
I'm extremely high on this BYU team, and a lot of people are very high on this VCU team. Apparently they play very good defense, but I just think BYU shoots the ball too well. I mean, they've had like 4 games where they scored 95 plus this year, so they're a great offensive team, and I have BYU beating VCU. But there are a lot of people that are pretty confident about VCU, which I found very interesting.
I could see it happening. I'm not saying that it couldn't. I believe BYU will face off against Wisconsin. I believe they are a much better team than Montana. I believe Wisconsin will prevail, and honestly, probably one of the more lopsided games of the day today.
Okay. Yeah. I have Wisconsin as well, but never. I don't know. Wisconsin sports likes to choke a lot, so I'm saying. You say that now, but don't be surprised we come back tomorrow.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay?
I know, but I'm just saying.
Lose my mind over it.
I wouldn't be like Wisconsin is ever going to be a sure thing in a playoff in any sport. Brewers, Packers, Badgers, whatever it is. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
And the final game in the East, at the very bottom, Alabama. At the final
2 more
games, I should say. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I'm going with the high seed St. Mary's. They're great defensively. They've got good offensive pieces. They're going to be able to knock out Vanderbilt, be the first SEC team to not make it in the round of 32. It's my pick on that.
I've got Vandy. They've played some top teams really close. They beat Kentucky. They beat Tennessee early in the year, but then they've played Auburn solidly close. They played Tennessee close. They beat Texas A&M. I think they've just played such great competition this year, and it's prepared them a lot for the tournament. So I have Vandy pulling off a 10-7 upset.
So you've got Vandy against who? Alabama, I would.
I have Vandy.
Yes.
Vandy versus Bama.
I have St. Mary's in Alabama in the round of 32. Okay, to the Midwest. Houston, SIU. Once again, a lot of local flavor in SIU. Former Northwest Tech men's basketball coach Jay Bradley, an assistant there at SIU. You were talking with Brady Brumbaugh, about possibly going down. He is actually going to go down and watch the game.
He is. There you go.
So safe travels to Brady and have some good times down there. There's also a lot of local JUCO flavor there at SIU. I still don't think they have enough to beat Houston, who I think is it's the most complete Houston team that Kelvin Sampson's ever had, and that's saying something. So anyway, I've got Houston. You've got Houston. I believe they're going to take on the Bulldogs of Gonzaga.
Yeah, I was going to say. Wait a minute.
Because
there's 2 Bulldogs. Yeah, this is a matchup of the Bulldogs. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, give me Gonzaga as well. I don't know if I'm ever going to pick a Georgia basketball team to win anything. They had Ant, but that's about it. So give me the Bulldogs of Gonzaga.
The next game has got a lot of fun storylines. Clemson and McNeese. And the reason why this game is in it, because I think a lot of people think McNeese could beat Clemson, and they probably could. The problem is McNeese has got a problem within the locker room. Their coach is leaving to go to NC State, and it's already been announced. So what in the world is that team thinking as they get ready to take on a Clemson team, which is, had a pretty good season in the down ACC. Because of that, I'm going to go with the higher seed Clemson. They beat McNeese.
I'm with you. I was back and forth on this. I had McNeese actually until I heard about that news. And I think you could take it 2 ways. Maybe the team is like, all right, let's go on one last run for coach before he goes off to the bigger school at NC State. Or it's like it's this awkward vibe of like he's leaving now, so what's the point? But I have Clemson. Clemson's kind of underrated in my opinion. I think that they're a really good basketball team.
And they will face, Clemson will in my bracket, the 13 seed High Point, an upset of Purdue, because Purdue doesn't do good in the tournament. They really haven't had a great year this year by their standards. They have a really good point guard in Braden Smith, but everyone else is okay. Trey Kaufman-Renn's been decent this year. But High Point shoots the ball at a very high clip. They've scored a lot of points there, they're in a really on a really high momentum swing. I think they carry that into an upset win over Purdue.
I want to pick the mean mugging High Point. Did you see that clip, Ross, of that kid mean mugging across the court when they won the?
I did not, but I did read the story on The Athletic about the 2 student broadcasters who were broadcasting their games, which was pretty nuts.
I did not see that, but check out the video for that kid. It's one of the nastier mean mugs you'll ever see. But I wanted to pick High Point, but I'm not going to. I think Purdue is going to win this game.
The final 4 games of the first round, at least on the bottom right side. Illinois, Xavier. Xavier, of course, the nice comeback win. I think, though, Illinois has enough talent. God, if Illinois can put it together, and I think that's been the thing, they've been so inconsistent this year. They've got a great outside shooter in Riley. They've got a lottery pick at point guard in Yaka Jonas. They've got so many great pieces. If they can put it together, I think they do for the first round to beat Xavier.
I agree. And if it was Texas, we might be having a different conversation because I really liked Texas. But Xavier's scrappy. I wouldn't be surprised if they could pull it off. It just depends what Illinois team they're going to see, and I think they're going to see a very good version of them. So give me Illinois over Xavier.
And even though everyone talks about how anytime Kentucky's a 3 seed, they've been upset. Once again, that's a new head coach in Mark Pope, and you got to keep the faith. And I believe that Mark Pope and Kentucky, their great offensive set, will beat Troy and advance into the next round. UCLA, Utah State. Who you leaning there?
I'm going with Utah State with this one. This is a game, honestly, Ross, I don't know anything about either of these two teams, but I picked the 10 seed over the 7 seed in Utah State. They have a solid player, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know. Ian Martinez, their leading scorer, was 16.8. I really don't know much. This is just a gut feeling that I have Utah State. I'm going to be honest on this one, Ross.
I'm with you in that gut feeling. I'm going Utah State as well. They have fed 3 different coaches the last 3 years at Utah State, and guess what? They've gone to the NCAA tournament all 3 years. They have a phenomenal culture there in Logan, Utah, and they're taking on a UCLA team who I do love, Mick Cronin, but I don't feel like he's got enough offensive firepower. Utah State for the win.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Although Utah State's going to work hard because UCLA's going to be really good.
And then give me Tennessee. I think we're both.
Tennessee over Wofford.
All right.
There you go. Okay. There's our first round picks. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we will get through the round of 32 and the Sweet 16. You're listening to the Bracket Breakdown Show here on a Thursday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Keep your garage doors winter weather ready with High Plains Door Systems of Colby. They can keep the snow out, the wind out, the bugs and critters out with a new seal from top to bottom with their certified technicians to do the service and maintenance work for your doors. Call High Plains Door Systems of Colby to schedule your service at 785-462-6352. That's 462-6352, or visit the website at highplainsdoors.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, March 20th. On the overnights last night, May corn higher 3.5, 465.5. July up 3.5, 472 3/4. September up 1.5 at 446 3/4. December corn up 1.5 at 453. May soybean down 3 cents on the overnight at 10.05 1/4. July down 3.5 at 10.18. August down 3.5 at 10.14 September down 4 cents at 10.01 1/4. Chicago wheat, the May contract lower 5 1/4 at 5.58 1/4. July down 5 cents at 5.75. September down 4.5 at 5.92 1/4. December soft wheat down 4 3/4 at 6.15 1/4. Kansas City wheat, the May contract lower 8 cents on the overnight at 5.86 1/4. July down 7 3/4 at 6.01. September down 7 1/4 at 6.16 1/4. December hard wheat down 6 3/4 at 6.36 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $161 at 42,169. The S&P down 25 at 5,704. The Nasdaq down $114 at 19,836. Gold higher $7 an ounce at 3,048. Crude oil up 5 cents a barrel at 67.21. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484 or in our Kansas City office at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Today, we're talking with Zach Ogles, agronomy manager from Tessenderlo Curley. Zach, how can Thiosol and KTS improve outcomes for wheat growers?
When they apply a product like one of our thiosulfates, they're not only going to be receiving the sulfur benefit, they're going to be protecting the nitrogen that they're applying along with it. We can help a grower reduce losses through nitrate leaching. We're helping to protect the groundwater, improving the well water quality, while keeping most of that nitrogen available to the plant.
Ask your local ag retailer for Thiosol and KTS.
Kochia ranks among the most troublesome weeds in fallow management systems. That's why Scorch EXT herbicide has received 24C registration for use in Kansas and Montana fallow. Scorch EXT controls Kochia plus other threatening broadleaf weeds like Canada and Russian thistle. Powered by Duplasan technology, this innovative three-way premix is developed in response to the rising storm of resistant Kochia, including types resistant to glyphosate, 2,4-D, or fluroxapyr. Take back control with Scorch EXT from New Farm.
Sports talk that's fast, fresh, and always on point.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
This is the Morning Blitz.
Continuing here on a Thursday morning, 8:41 Central, 7:41 Mountain Time. Going to be 55 and sunny today. Could be a little breezy at times, but a much better day than yesterday was for sure. And the sun is out shining, meaning we'll melt some snow, and that's a big, big, big thing. And trust me, we didn't even get the brunt of it. I'd say you get over to the center part of the state, north, they got it really bad, like snapped power lines and no power. And that's going to be a tough recovery for those people over there in the center part of the state. You're listening to the Bracket Breakdown Show here on the Morning Blitz. Ross Volkmer, Max Gershon. We've gone through the first round, made our picks. We got to keep the hammer down to get through the entire bracket. And so we will move into the round of 32, back up to the top left of the bracket in the South region, where I have Auburn, Louisville. Max has Auburn, Creighton at this point in time. Who are you taking into the round?
I have Auburn. I have Auburn winning this game against Creighton. I think Auburn's just one of the best teams in the country. And, I have Auburn beating Creighton in round 2.
I have Auburn taking care of Louisville as well. Depth, athleticism, they are top 15 in KenPom adjusted offense and defense. That's a key stat, and they will advance. They will take on Michigan, who's going to take down Yale in my bracket. I have Michigan taking down Yale. And what is the Danny White game? Because Danny White played at Yale before transferring to Michigan. But Michigan gets the last laugh. They beat Yale with their size and physicality.
Well, I have UC San Diego versus Texas A&M, and I have UC San Diego, the 12 seed, going to the Sweet 16, beating Texas A&M. That's my fun run. Really, I think that's the highest seed I have out there. We'll see, but I have UC San Diego with a little Cinderella story going against Auburn in the Sweet 16.
I don't like this pick, but I'm just riding with what my gut says, and I'm going North Carolina over Iowa State. The run continues to the Sweet 16 for North Carolina. Everyone said they didn't deserve to be in. Guess what? They're in the Sweet 16.
And guess what? They've got a pretty easy road because, Iowa State has been banged up. They're losing. They're without one of their best players, and they have been struggling before then anyway. So, give me UNC. They're playing mad. You don't want to play a team mad in March, and they're talented as well. And I have North Carolina beating Iowa State as well.
And then I've got in the next game, New Mexico, Michigan State. I'm taking Michigan State to advance over the Lobos.
I'm with you. I have Michigan State over the Lobos.
Boy, that will be a game that everyone will tune in because that's a blue blood classic. North Carolina, Michigan State.
It sure is.
People will love that. Moving down to the West, Florida, Oklahoma. You have Florida, UConn.
Correct. I have Florida beating UConn. I think that's where UConn's run ends. I think they're good enough and they're coached well enough, and they just know how to play in March to beat Oklahoma in round 1. But I don't think they are they're just not talented enough, in my opinion, this year to beat an unbelievable Florida team.
Florida's really, really good, folks. Really good. They're going to beat Oklahoma. They did it in conference play. They're going to do it in the tournament. They will face off against, in my bracket, Maryland, who's going to end Colorado State's run. I've got the Terps or the Turtles moving on. And once again, I think they have a very talented team. Not a lot of depth, but that top 6 is extremely talented for Maryland.
I'm with you. I have Maryland going on to face Florida in the Sweet 16. I don't know a lot about Maryland. Just haven't watched enough basketball, I guess, to get into Maryland hoops this year. But I do think that since Colorado State is going to beat Memphis, I think Maryland is going to end that run in the next round.
The next game, you have Missouri and Texas Tech, an old Big 12 game. Well, I guess it's still, an old Big 12 game. That's right. And then I have Drake, Texas Tech. I'm on this horse. I'm right. Drake over Texas Tech. Ben McCollum makes it to the Sweet 16 in his first year.
I love it. I have Missouri beating Texas Tech and going on to the Sweet 16.
Bennett Sturts taking Drake all the way to the Sweet 16, where he will meet in Kansas St. John's. I'm taking the Johnnies.
Yeah,
I can't take Kansas because I just don't think they're tough enough.
No, they're not. And I tell you what,
physically to play St. John's.
There was not even 5 minutes. It was probably a 3-minute thought process in my head last night when I was laying in bed, and I said, and of me almost convincing myself that KU was going to make it to the Elite Eight. It was 3 minutes. It lasted 3 minutes until I decided that was actually a crazy scenario that was never going to happen. So I think that KU, if they don't lose to Arkansas, will lose to St. John's in rounds 2.
Personally, I don't think you're crazy. Like if KU ends up making it to the Elite Eight, I'm not going to sit here and be like, that was absolutely dumb. If we can think about this, is Kansas one of the most talented teams in the tournament? Talent alone. Yes, they are. Why have they not been able to win? Because they are just not really mentally tough enough and on the same page. But if they could find a way to flip a switch, could they make it all the way there? And I thought too. I thought, yes, they could. This is a dangerous 7 Kansas team, but they just have not put it together all the year, and they have to face St. John's, who you know is going to be physically tough.
If they beat St. John's, they will beat Missouri. That is what I will say.
Brian, he is actually predicting on Facebook that Missouri and Kansas will play each other in the Sweet 16. He has no doubt.
Well, no doubt is. I have some doubt. I'll tell you that. A lot of doubt.
So I have
St. John's.
So anyway, so you've got St. John's and Missouri. I've got Drake and St. John's rolling into the Sweet 16.
That'd be a fun matchup.
Oh, what? The Missouri or the Drake one?
Drake.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. The greatest college basketball coach, I believe, in the history of the game, and Rick Pitino facing off against the up and coming great head coach in Ben McCollum, in my opinion. That'd be the storyline for me. All right, up to the top right in the East bracket in the round of 32, Duke and Baylor. I'm going to stick with Duke. They get past Baylor. A little bit, definitely more of a contest for Duke, but Duke advances. Too much.
I'm with it. I think it might be a close game, honestly. It depends on how Baylor plays, but they have talent. Baylor does have talent. But I have Duke winning this game.
I have them playing the winner of Liberty and Akron, and I'm taking the Flames. The Flames, who shoot flames from the outside, beat Akron into the Sweet 16.
I've got Arizona versus Liberty, and I have Arizona. I think Caleb Love really is going to have a fantastic tournament, and I have them going to the that'd be the Sweet 16 versus Duke.
The next round of games, I have BYU, Wisconsin, and I'm taking the Badgers to beat BYU in a close one, advancing into the Sweet 16.
I'm going to take BYU. I'm high on BYU because they can score with anyone when they are shooting the ball well, and if they are shooting the ball well, I think they can outscore Wisconsin. So give me BYU over the Badgers to go on to the Sweet 16.
BYU scores 81 points per game. The Badgers score 80.
Yeah.
They can score a lot of points. This is the highest scoring offensive team in Wisconsin in the last 40 years. They can absolutely fill it up. So I think they can handle BYU, and they will have to face off against another very good offensive team in Alabama. I think they beat St. Mary's, advancing into the round of Sweet 16. So,
hold on. What was
I have Bama over St. Mary's. You had Vanderbilt, Bama in an.
I have Vanderbilt over Alabama.
Oh,
that is my craziest pick.
Wow.
Vandy. I'm telling you, they've played teams close this year. I want to say they almost beat Bama early in the year. They beat them in football. They're going to beat them in basketball. Give me Vandy moving on to face BYU.
What a year for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they're just on top of the world and they're going to beat Bama in basketball too.
Yeah, I've got Bama and Wisconsin meeting there in the in the Elite Eight.
That's probably my craziest.
That is the Sweet 16. Excuse me.
That's just a gut feeling upset. That's probably the craziest one in my bracket.
Down to the Midwest, where it's Houston Gonzaga in my bracket. I'm taking the Cougars to beat the Bulldogs once again. Gonzaga's got a lot of talent, and honestly, they could probably pull an upset here. There's something about Houston this year. They've always been great defensively. They're still a great defensive team, but now they have the offense to back it up. They can really shoot it from the outside, and they've got physicality inside. That's too much for Gonzaga.
Give me Houston this one as well.
And they will take on Clemson, who's going to end the High Point run after a massive upset of Purdue.
And I have Clemson beating Purdue in round 2 of my bracket.
Illinois, Kentucky is what I have in this next game.
Yep.
And I waffled back and forth on this a ton. I'm just going to roll with Kentucky and the offense of Mark Pope over Illinois' lack of execution and up and down season that they have had. So I'm going with Kentucky, even though I would like to see Illinois make it. I'm going with Kentucky.
You settled, I think you settled that one. You wanted to pick Illinois, but you picked Kentucky.
Yep.
I wanted to pick Illinois, so I picked Illinois. So I have Illinois beating Kentucky and moving on to the Sweet 16 because I think they're going to play their best basketball at the right time this year. I just do, because if they do, then they're one of the best teams in the country. They were at the beginning of the year.
And to continue this, I'm going with Tennessee to meet Kentucky in a rivalry game in the Sweet 16.
I have Tennessee beating Utah State to go on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I have Tennessee over Utah State as well. All right, let's continue on here. Back up to the top left with the Sweet 16 games, and then we'll take a break after we get to the Elite Eight. But I've got Auburn, Michigan in my first Sweet 16 game. What do you have?
I have Auburn versus UC San Diego in my Sweet 16.
The Tritons again.
No, I'm going to be taking Auburn to end this run and move on to the Elite Eight.
My game would be a lot more entertaining. Auburn and Michigan, and Auburn will win, in my opinion. I've got North Carolina, Michigan State. What do you have in this?
I have North Carolina, Michigan State.
And you're taking?
Michigan State. I think Michigan State will end North Carolina's run. Ole Miss I'm not impressed with. Iowa State is banged up and they have not been consistent, but Michigan State is healthy and consistent, so I will take Michigan State to beat North Carolina.
Michigan State has faltered in the tournament from time to time by the previous few years of Coach Izzo, which is why North Carolina makes it to the Elite Eight.
I don't know. It could happen.
Which seems absolutely nuts, but there's an 11 seed. Otce again, these teams that play on the first four that make these runs.
Yeah.
There you go. I think North Carolina can make it to the Elite Eight and meet Auburn. My other in the West bracket, I've got Florida, Maryland. Gators roll. Too much depth, too much skill. They beat Maryland.
Give me the Gators, and then the next game I have Missouri St. John's, and I have Missouri pulling off the upset and moving on. I have the Tigers. Look, I think they're a very, very talented basketball team, and I honestly think if they can beat Drake in this first round, it's going to be a close game, and that is going to only benefit them moving forward the next two rounds. And I have them beating St. John's.
I feel like Missouri peaked in the middle of the season and maybe isn't playing their best basketball right now. I've got Drake, St. John's. The run-ins here, St. John's over Drake.
Okay. That's the end of the run for Drake.
Yep, that's the end of the run. Great season. I mean, good Lord, can't get much better.
Yeah, you can't complain if they make it that far.
Complain about that. I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah.
Bennett Sturts for Player of the Year. Anyway, on the other side, on the East bracket, Duke and Liberty. I've got Duke ending the run for the Flames. They're dousing those Flames, and they will meet Alabama, the 2 seed there in the Elite Eight.
I have Duke, Arizona. I have Duke beating Arizona, and then I have BYU, Vanderbilt in the other side of that. What would that be? The East region, and I have BYU moving on to the Elite Eight to play Duke.
Duke and BYU. Interesting matchup.
Yeah, I do.
And then in the Midwest, I have Houston, Clemson facing off in the Sweet 16. I'm taking Houston over Clemson, and they will face, this game I waffled back and forth, and that's right. I went with Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky beats Tennessee. They've beaten, this is the thing. Tennessee has lost Kentucky 2 times this year, and for some reason, I don't think they can beat them a third. It's been that kind of year. Look at high school ball. Teams have won. They've played multiple times. That team that's won before wins again. I'm going with Kentucky.
I am going with, first of all, I'm going with Clemson to beat Houston.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah. I know you are very high on Houston.
Whoa.
You are very high on Houston, but
I'm not upset about, I'm just more upset about Clemson. I'm like, Clemson's good. I don't know if they're that good.
They're good, but Houston, I don't know if they have enough offensive firepower. Clemson really doesn't score that much more either, but I don't know. I don't see Houston making it that far. So I have Clemson over Houston, and then I have Tennessee over Illinois. So I have Tennessee versus Clemson, that Elite Eight matchup.
Houston allows 58 points per game. They don't have to have a lot of offense.
Also, well, I know. Well, that just depends how good they're, but it's different in the tournament. But Tennessee 9-5 versus top 25 teams. I just want to throw that out there. They are as battle tested as anyone in the country.
So, okay. So before we get to break, your Elite Eight games, I have Auburn, North Carolina, Florida, St. John's, Duke, Alabama, and Houston, Kentucky.
I have, wait, hold on. Where'd we go? Okay. So I have Auburn, Michigan State. Then I have Florida, Maryland, Missouri, St. John's.
It can't be Florida, Maryland.
Wait, where am I at?
You had Florida,
Missouri. Sorry, Florida.
Missouri.
Okay, now I'm with it. Florida, Missouri, Michigan State, Auburn, Duke, BYU, and then I have Tennessee, Clemson.
There you go.
There
There's the Elite Eight.
That is my Elite Eight.
All right, let's take another break. We'll come back. We'll get you the Final Four in our national championship game and who is going to win the title next on the Bracket Breakdown Show here on a Thursday on the Morning Blitz.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Get ready for the Shilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th at 1 p.m. Central Time. With 60 Angus and 5 Limflex bulls and 10 Angus heifers, there's plenty to choose from. These are big, stout performance kind of cattle and great selection for calving ease bulls. Check them out on Facebook at Shilling Cattle, or you can also watch the sale at TV Auction. The sale is located 6 miles north of the I-70 Exchange in Brewster, Kansas. Come check out great cattle, meet great people, and best of all, eat some fantastic food. So don't forget to mark your calendars for the Shilling Cattle Production Sale Wednesday, March 26th, 6 miles north of Brewster, Kansas.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
You're listening to the High Plains only local sports talk show.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The Morning Blitz.
All right, just a couple minutes to go here on the Bracket Breakdown Show here on the Morning Blitz. Once again, a reminder, folks, get your brackets turned in for NWKS Radio's Bracket Challenge by noon local time today to the sponsoring location you picked it up at, and we'll get those picked up, and we'll have a winner here in a couple of weeks of $1,500 in cash. All right, as we wrap things up here, continuing with our picks. All right, we're on to who's going to the Final Four for you, Max. Tell us your picks.
Just go through them all?
Yep, rattle them off.
All right, well, I have Michigan State beating Auburn to go to their spot in the Final Four. I have Florida beating Missouri. I have Tennessee beating Clemson, and I have Duke beating BYU. And I know I was making fun of people earlier this week about that only have 1s and 2s in their Final Four, but guess what? I have only 1s and 2s in my Final Four, so This is what it is.
This is where I hate my bracket. This is where it goes. I have Auburn beating North Carolina, ending that unbelievable run by Hubert David's team. Florida has got way too much depth and toughness and shooting and everything. They're going to beat St. John's to advance. So I've got a Florida-Auburn SEC Final Four game on one side of the bracket. And then I've got Alabama ending Duke's run. It's one of the most highly offensively efficient teams in the country in Alabama. They're going to beat Duke, and the reason Duke is going to fall at this point in time is because of their youth. I think their youth catches up to them at some point in time, and Alabama is extremely experienced. Bama gets the best of Duke, and they will face off against Houston, who ends Kentucky's run. So I have 3 number 1s and a 2 in the Final Four. So this is where I hate my bracket.
Yeah. All right. Final four for me, Michigan State, Florida. I have Florida beating Michigan State going on to the national championship. And then I have the Tennessee Volunteers beating the Duke Blue Devils and going on to the national championship. So I have Florida, the 1 seed, and Tennessee, the 2 seed, fighting for it all.
You know, the thing about the NCAA tournament, you have to remember, folks, is that in the first round, there can be some craziness, and even in the round of 32. But when you get to the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and the Final Four, the cream rises to the top. And so Florida will take down Auburn to play for a national championship against the most complete Kelvin Sampson squad he's ever had. Houston, Florida, Houston, and San Antonio, Texas for the national title game.
Who do you got?
And I am going to go with Houston.
Wow.
How they knock off Florida, I'm not 110% sure. Florida is so deep. They've got like 5 bigs that are all good. They've got guards that can shoot it. But Houston finds a way with that unbelievable defense and their offense, which has really improved this year. They shoot close to 40% from 3. They find a way to get it done against Florida. Houston over Florida is my national championship pick.
So my national championship is Florida versus Tennessee. I lived in Florida for 2 years.
A rivalry game for the national title.
I lived in Florida for 2 years. But guess what? I also lived in Tennessee this summer. Give me Rocky Top, the Vols. Vols up, baby. Tennessee is going to win the national championship. Flip it, mark it down. That is my bracket. I've got Tennessee over Florida. Do you have the fill out how many total points will be scored? I never even look at that. I just type in a random number. But
worried about it.
That's who I got. I got Tennessee winning it all. I think that they are a battle-tested team coming out of the SEC, and I don't think Duke is going to win it just because how many times do you see the best player win it all? Rarely, if ever. And then Florida's a good team, but I got Tennessee. I'm picking Tennessee, the 2 seed.
I've got Houston over Florida. That is my pick for the national championship. All right, let's get to the walk-off.
High drive, deep left, grand slam, and back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on the New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman, jackpot, Kansas City.
Wrapping up the show, have you ever predicted a national champion correctly in a bracket?
Yep.
How many times? 1
time.
Who was it?
The Louisville Cardinals in 2013, the one that got stripped away from them. But that's one of my favorite college basketball teams of all time. When I was little, I rooted for Louisville when they had Rick Pitino, and that team with Peyton Siva, Russ Smith, Luke Hancock. That was the only time I've ever picked and I won that bracket just because I had them winning. So that was the last
3 years. I've done it 3 times.
Wow.
The 2 years that Florida won it and back-to-back. And I also picked it the year, of course, that Virginia, after getting beat by UMBC, came back and won it the next year. Picked Virginia over Texas Tech. I actually picked that national title game and the winner perfectly. I don't feel as confident this year for whatever reason.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. Hey, if Drake wins in round 1, you're already looking pretty good.
Oh man, if they make Sweet 16, I'm sitting on the top. I'm sitting on the top. Shout out real quickly to they announced the All Jayhawk Conference teams yesterday. Shout out to Eternity Iguaji, named Freshman of the Year and was a first team selection. Maxence Macedia, an honorable mention selection for Colby Community College. 42nd Northwest Chase Harris, a first team selection as he should have been. And teammate Khalik Sharp, an honorable mention selection. On the women's side, Colby Community College's was a second team, but Shantae Suttington and her teammate Desiree Ulmer was an honorable mention team. And former Wallace County girls head basketball coach, now head coach at Dodge City Community College, Landon Steele, named Coach of the Year. So some neat storylines there. Programming note, tomorrow, you're all with Max. Have a great time. Max is going to do a great job. I am out for tomorrow, but I'll be back on Monday. But Max,
we're going to recap everything.
We'll recap everything. Max is in command, so join him tomorrow starting at 7 Mountain, 8 Central Time. We will see you. Max, we'll see you tomorrow. And everyone else, have a great rest of your weekend. It's been Blitz.